Okay, Italia, I didn't hear anything from Stephen, but if you can hear me, just let me know, please.
I can hear you
You used to that.
loud and clear.
You feel like death all around you. Real talk, if you cross the floor,
Hi, Italia.
okay, see,
Hi.
daddy topics, dude.
Okay, okay, we're back, and you can hear me now. Is it
Yes, I
still
can hear
lagging?
you. No, it's
Okay,
not.
great. Okay, great, great. Okay, so what I said earlier is that we are going to postpone the midterm until Tuesday. On
Hmm.
the midterm, we talked about quality care. There are two types of customer service: internal service as well as external. I think somebody mentioned that the internal customers get the quality care, and I said, what you can um, do some research on quality care. Do some research if you don't find anything in Google on quality care. You find some information about corporate culture. As we said, there's a very big problem in the Bahamas with the corporate culture. Everywhere you go, people either hate going to work or something goes on at the job. People don't, they're not happy. We spend 8 hours a day there. And so we want to ensure that we fix this corporate culture issue that we're having. So it's just a heads up. We'll cover it some more
Okay.
on Thursday when we do the review. But you can do some research on corporate culture or colleague care because a part of the exam is an essay, and that's what the essay topic is going to be on.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, good, good. All right. And so I had asked earlier, I think Thompson mentioned about the homework. I was wondering, Atalia, did you find it okay? Were you able to manage it and you didn't feel overwhelmed by the homework?
No, I did. I actually finished it early, but I was a little skeptical on sending it because I kept going over it to make sure I covered everything. So just like Miss Thompson, I went through the book and I also researched some of the information.
Okay, good. Yeah. So go through the book, as well as you'll have to do some research again. It's only going to be one essay. And so when you're writing that essay, you want some extra meat in there. So you will have to go online and do some research. But we want to test understanding, not memory. So it's really, yeah, everyday experience at work, how the culture is, and what would you
Okay.
recommend to fix it? How can it be fixed? Just the information that you put in there is going to be worth 10 points. So what I normally tell persons to do is write down 10 points that you want to include and go online and then Google those 10 points and see what information is out there. So of course, colleague care, persons will start with the definition or they will start off by there are two types of customers, internal, external. This essay is about colleague care. Colleague care is A, B, and C. In my essay, I'm going to cover these three topics: corporate culture, what is wrong, and how to fix it. So again, like I say, when you go and do your research, you Google what is wrong, what corporate culture is, and what's happening today. On the other hand, is I like to focus everything on the Bahamas because I think we have a lot of work to do here, and there's a lot of things that we need to get fixed. So keyword Bahamas, essay, corporate culture, so you could start your research so you could be prepared for Tuesday. Okay, and then we will do review on Thursday, and please come with questions that you may have.
Okay.
Before we go into chapter 9, talks about planning and marketing. Are there any questions about the project? Did you make use of your time on Thursday? Was it beneficial? Sorry, I think I got hit off for a second, but I was asking Stephen if he made use of his time on Thursday and he got some of his project work done. Okay. I guess before I go on, I just want to ensure that you can hear me because I got hit off. Stephen, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so I'll leave the questions till the end. And Italia, please be my go-to person. Send up a hand wave, or if I go out, or if you can't hear me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thanks. And I'm hoping that if anybody else can't hear me, just send me a message. I guess okay, if I can't hear you for now, we leave the questions till the end, okay? And so chapter 9 talks about marketing and planning. And this is the only chapter. We'll cover all the chapters, including chapter 9, in the midterm. So only up to chapter 9, you would need to study. Okay, so it talks about planning and marketing. And of course, early in the class, we spoke about mission statements. And so everybody would have gone out to their institution to find out what their mission statement is, what they would have signed up for, why it is important, and how they achieve their goals. Because remember, I said that a lot of people just show up with their own attitude, their own agenda, and they don't really stand for what the company stands for, and they don't always agree with it. So this chapter is going to tell us why the mission statement is important. We're going to understand the meaning of planning and describe the structure of a corporate plan. I think I mentioned to y'all on Thursday that I wanted y'all to go and look up a SWOT analysis and a marketing plan. So hopefully some of you would have had the opportunity to go and look up SWOT as well as marketing. Did you do that? Italia, did you go and look up the SWOT analysis?
Yes, I love that SWOT analysis.
Okay, so you understand what the SWOT analysis is?
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so very good. So in corporate planning, planning involves coordinating resources, people, money, and materials. Organizations have to decide their objectives. They have to identify ways to achieve them. They have to get the right team players. They have to get the right people on board to carry out these goals. So planning involves decisions about what to do in the future, how to do it, when to do it, and who is to do it. So what to do is the objectives. Again, that's where we get the mission statement from, the values and the goals. Then how to do it is the strategy. How do we do it to ensure that we are competitive with our competitors? When to do it. Different tactics that we use, which, there are different seasons of buying. In the summer, of course, it's very hot, so persons may want to purchase air conditioning. Also, it's hurricane season, so you would see people purchasing lumber to ensure that their houses are protected, especially after Dorian. A lot of people said we need a contingency plan for our house. We need a business continuity plan. What do we do if we were in Abaco? Where would we go? Do we have sufficient cash? Do we have life jackets? Where would be the safest place? Because even a lot of people sought shelter in the various shelters that were available, and they were full. Then some persons went to hotels, and the hotels were severely damaged. So do you wait on the government to get you out of Abaco, or do you have your contingency plan together to ensure that your family is safe? So different tactics like that, and who is going to do it and who will do it the best. And so in order to ensure that you're competitive, and it's a difference, like they said, between Walmart and Kmart. Obviously, Walmart has a better strategy than Kmart. They sell the same things. They have basically the same staff, but they offer more training. Their prices are more, I guess, way better than lower than Kmart. and they offer deals. A lot of times you would see various big retailers like that say, we don't offer any discounts. Everything is a net price. And when you go in Kmart, you know, a lot of times you don't see those deals that you would see in Walmart. The price is already low. And on top of that, they still have seasonal discounts. Okay. And so all of that keeps your cash flowing. And later on in the book, we talk about a cash cow. And what a cash cow is, for example, Ford Motor Company, who may sell one car per month. That one car may be worth $50,000, $60,000. And so you don't have persons coming in every single day to purchase cars because they have high net worth items. And so therefore, in order to sustain the business, to pay salaries, to keep the electricity on, to ensure you get that good customer service when you walk in. A lot of institutions have a cash cow. And so cash cows aren't, like, I wasn't able in my research to find a lot of information on the internet about cash cows. What I did learn from some books that I read is that back in the day, Burger King used to be a cash cow. And so people would compare Burger King to McDonald's and say, wow, McDonald's offers way better service, has way better tasting food, and McDonald's has a very strong brand. However, Burger King is there and it's been hanging on for dear life for the last 30 years, but it has not closed. And so therefore, how are they surviving? You know, a lot of people, they're not half as popular as McDonald's. And so what a lot of people, what I read is that Burger King was the cash cow for Ford Motor Company. And so because they were so intense, cash intensive, like people came in every day and bought, bought food, that helped sustain the automotive business, who would have had like that one customer per month with that $60,000. And so let's just say at the beginning of the month, that person came in on August 1st. How do we survive? At the end of the month, say they came in on August 31st. How do we survive from August 1st? How do we pay the salaries? How do we keep the light on until August 31st? And so what they did is they used Burger King, which avoided them from getting overdrafts and borrowing large sums of money to pay bills, to buy inventory, and to sustain themselves until they got that $50,000, $60,000 for that one car. Have any of you heard about a cash cow before? Italia, have you heard about it?
No, I've never heard about it.
And so type of business, yeah, we want a high cash intensive business that will keep money and we will just borrow. They don't really invest. As you can see, like I said, the Burger King brand, while it's strong, it's nothing compared to McDonald's. So it's gone down over the years. And so that's what a lot of businesses would do, have that cash cow to sustain them. And so all of this is a part of the strategy, a part of the operation. How do we stay open? How do we keep the bills paid and sustain ourselves until we get the big lump sum in? And most of the time, so when they would have sold one car, you know, that money is already owed out to other bills. And so this is how they sustain themselves throughout, you know, the years. And of course, we know that Ford is a very strong brand, has been around for 50 years, and as well as Burger King, not as strong because they don't invest so much back into Burger King, but they invest more back in, they use the funds that they make at Burger King and they invest it into Ford. And so that's why Ford is such a good car brand. So, you know, for the persons who want to be entrepreneurs, it's a good strategy. It's a good thing to put in your corporate plan. How do I sustain myself? Of course, seasonal as well. Normally cars are bought in March when there's a car show, or during Christmas when persons would have gotten bonuses. But again, let's think about the pandemic. Do you really think anybody went out and bought a car between March and June of this year? Do you think so, Natalia?
No, I don't think so.
Right. So, but we see a lot of car companies closing down. We see a very big truck company in America, Comcar, that make trucks, they are closing. We see the Hertz rental car closing, but we don't hear like a Ford Motor Company or a Bentley or Mercedes Benz, or what do we have locally, Toyota. How come they were not, I mean, they were affected, but we don't hear that they're announcing that they have to let their staff go. More than likely they would have used the same strategy, which would have kept them afloat. Okay, in the Bahamas, I really feel that that burger place that's right outside Solomon's on the highway, everybody familiar with that? I can't even remember the
I
name.
think
Something of
it is.
Chicago.
No, you mean the one that's on the highway by the mall?
Yeah, the highway by the mall. And then
And
another one was
that
out on
was
Michael Road.
Carl's
So all of
Jr.
them, Carl's Jr., right. So not popular at all. Their sandwiches weren't very good and they definitely didn't last long. But they invested a lot of money to build those buildings. I don't think it was at a loss though. I think, you know, as we know that the Aguila is a part of AML Foods. So I would think more than likely he would have used Carl's Jr. as a cash cow during the, you know, the elections to filter money through there, you know, so persons would not know where it came from. And then right after the election, they just closed out. Nobody would have built those buildings for such a brand that wasn't even popular. So I really believe that he used that cash cow for another business or for just for the election. So people, you know, business persons use it for many different reasons. But again, it's just everyday business that will have high turnover, high numbers of customers coming in daily with a lot of cash flow. So that stops us from having to go to the bank and borrow for salaries and inventory. Okay? Okay, so that's the purpose of planning. We want to ensure what our strategy is, how we are going to go about it, and what we are going to do. Okay? On to the corporate plans. Corporate plans, there are stages in strategic planning. It's the development of the organization's mission statement. And again, everybody knows now the mission statement is the statement that an organization is aiming to achieve through its conduct of its business. Royal Bank, when I was there, their own was blow away the customer. I think Italia before Atlantis used to be, no, sorry. Atlantis used to be blow away the customer. Royal Bank used to be earning the right to be the customer's first choice. Now, Atlantis owned with blow away the customer for about 20 years, I think. And I don't know what they would have changed it because their plans had changed. I know they would have sold to Brookfield. Did they change it because of the new company and the new company would have come out with a new mission statement? Do you know, Adalia?
Yes, the new company came out with a new mission statement, and I think what do they call it? Service essentials. They came up with about 12 service essentials.
Okay, and like you told us the other day, they had painted. What is the new mission statement?
They painted a mural where the employees come in of the mission statement, which is to be the most remarkable resort destination in the world.
Okay, to be the most, okay, very good. So they changed it from blow away the customer. And what about these 12 values that you say they also have, service values? Are they painted anywhere? Are they accessible? Because normally they should be in the kitchen. They should be throughout the building where, you know, because you can't remember all of these in your head. So you need a constant reminder of why we're here and what we're here for.
Yes, as you walk through the basement, they have them in big picture frames. So you have like smile and say hello, look sharp, serve from the heart. We have about 12 of those.
Okay, good. And are they just there? Because, you know, in America, there are a lot of bodies that check on these things to make sure that you don't just have some baseless words just to say that you have a mission statement. That I think everybody familiar with Enron, and when they collapsed, you know, they had Master Stewart was very popular. back then, and she had done some insider trading, and that's what caused her to go to jail. So it caused Enron, the company that she worked for, thousands of dollars. And upon their review, a part of their review to find out how was she able to leak this information, what type of security they had, they found that even right down to the mission statement, they had interviewed, I think, about 10 to 20 employees. None of those employees knew the mission statement. They also had some values, and none of the employees, not even management, knew them. And so as a part of the trial, after Massa would have gone to jail, Enron was also charged with just writing faceless stories that nobody followed, and they was a very large fine that they had to pay for just, having something written down on paper just to simply say you have a statement, when in actuality nobody followed it and it was not carried out. Okay, so we want to be careful with that, especially the ones who are supervisors and we have people reporting to us. We want to ensure that, we don't write these statements that we don't mean. Are our employees smiling? Do they really care? Does it really make a difference what we say? Do you really smile, Italia, when the customers come in?
Yes, all the time.
All the time.
All
Okay.
the time.
Okay, so you're one of those top tier employees who actually care about what you do when you go to job. You're not just there for a paycheck. You ensure that what this company has committed to, you helping them to achieve these goals.
Right.
Okay, very good, very good. Did you get more started just now?
No, I can hear
Are
you
you still
clear.
clear? Okay, very good, very good. Okay, good. So we understand what the mission statement is. We have gone to our organizations and we know what they do. We know where to find it and where it's written. Okay, very good. So the corporate mission depends on a variety of factors. Corporate history will often influence the markets and customer groups. High-income customers in its retail banking activities. Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, because I think I just got something. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the mission statement. Then there's a statement of objectives. Sometimes it's the same and sometimes they have a separate statement. There's situational analysis, strategy development, and then specific plans, and then implementation. Once we would have written all this down, we then have to carry it out. And how do we carry it out? So again, all of this falls under the corporate plans. So a statement of objectives, like I said, if it's not a part of the mission statement, the objectives are planning process both of the corporate and at the market level. Corporate objectives define specific goals for the organization as a whole. This may be expressed in terms of profitability, returns on investment, growth of asset base, and earnings per shares. These will be the planning process and be reflected in the objectives for marketing and other functional plans. Again, my issue with some mission statements is it does not include the staff members. Did anybody go to their institution and find a mission statement that included the staff members? We don't only want to blow away the customer like Alanis previously said. We want to blow away the customer, but also we want to ensure that quality care is involved, that people come to work happy, to
Our
ensure
mission
that
statement.
everybody is. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying our mission statement says something about staff.
Okay, what does it say? Or do you have it
Right.
written or no?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
It's a cooperative organization pooling its resources to provide quality financial service to its members while ensuring staff satisfaction and responding to the changing needs of society.
you. Okay, very good. And do you feel that that's just written words, or
It's
are they
just written
fully
words.
ensuring what they said about the staff?
It's just written words. I mean, when I first started with the organization, I felt as if, that they had the interests at heart. But, as board of directors changes, you see different hearts of people. So I think right now, I feel as if the mission statement right now is not being carried out the way that it should be because of the change of people.
Okay, and so, like you said, as board of directors change, a lot of times, I know on the AML side, 'cause I also teach AML, the staff has to have training. It's a statutory requirement to ensure that the staff are trained each year on AML policies and procedures. Last year, one of the inspectors went out to an institution and they just happened to be auditing whilst they were having a board meeting. And she then spoke to one of the board members, and the board member could not answer a simple banking question, but he was a board member on one of the offshore banks boards. And so from that conversation, and also to be cooperative with international standards, they insisted that the board members are trained as well. So that's on the AML side. But because they had insisted that board members are trained, and they saw like some of the, I guess, decisions being made without considering the staff, and senior management always having to advocate on the staff's behalf, especially when it comes to money. They, a lot of corporations don't only train the board members on AML, but they also train on various, aspects of quality care, how to deal with the staff, how to change the culture. So this training has only been mandatory, um, what the law changed in 2018, and so it's 2020, so for about 2 years now. And so as we go on, more, I think it's going to be better developed. People are going to be aware because, like I said, a lot of people show up to work, including the board members, and they don't know what the values are. And so because you're here now and you are learning that a part of our mission statement says that we care about the staff. We don't only want to develop the business. We are not only customer focused, but we also want to ensure that the staff come to work happy, and we've made some commitments to them. Perhaps somebody, they may need a reminder. And a lot of times it seems like senior management, the boards, delegates its authority to senior management, and because they're senior management gets out on the training. They miss it a lot of times. They are the very ones who need this training, to ensure that they make proper decisions and that are not only financially based, or so they don't end up like Enron, where they are investigated and they find out that nobody, even top management, did not know the mission, did not know the values. And definitely, if you don't know it, you're not operating in that way, and you're not carrying out those goals every day. So I prefer companies, and when I go on interviews, I do prefer companies. I think highly, I should say, of companies that do include their staff in their statement, because a lot of companies simply don't. They simply don't include their staff members. They are only focused on the customers, and therefore that's why quality care falls through the cracks. And we're not having these conversations about coming to work, the culture, and how we feel each day. And so, because you're a part of the organization, they normally say compliance is everybody's business, but customer service is also everybody's business. and you are an internal customer there. So hopefully you are in an environment where you are able to speak up and you can say, you know, a part of our mission or our vision is to, about the staff. And I think it's fallen through the cracks. And perhaps all of us need a refresher on what our goals are, not only for the client, but, you know, internally. Would you be comfortable saying that? Do you think it would matter if you said it?
No, ma'am,
Something?
I don't. No, ma'am, I don't think it will be an issue if I say.
Okay, but how do you feel? Do you have the courage to say it? 'Cause I know a lot of times we feel this way, but we just accept what happens. We go with the status quo. Nobody else is speaking up, and then it becomes the new norm.
No, ma'am, I don't feel as if it will be an issue because I have a pretty good relationship with most of the board of directors. So I guess it will be a way of saying it that doesn't come across as being disrespectful or as if I'm targeting someone or a certain issue when indeed I am. But
Yes.
I don't see it being
Yeah,
an issue.
yeah. So just be diplomatic about it and say, if you participate in the meeting, try to get everybody and say, I just like to open with our mission statement. And I'd like to put emphasis, after you would have read, just a friendly reminder to all of us what our commitments are and what we are here for and what goals we want to achieve. And then say, I'd like to put emphasis on colleague care as I am in, if you want to say you in class right now and say, and we're focusing on this. And do you have any suggestions? People like when you ask them their advice. So you could say, do you have any suggestions on how we can improve colleague care? Some persons may even ask you, what is colleague care? Right? And so try it that way. Try to, get everybody to add something to the pie and say, yes, all of us are a team and we want to work together to ensure that we achieve all these goals. Okay? And perhaps that might help. It starts with a conversation. But again, what is wrong in a lot of our institutions is, first of all, we would have gotten a big booklet when we started. And we were sat in our office and we were supposed to read, and that was our training. And perhaps you read the first 2 pages and then you just tried to learn everything else as you went along. And then we never looked at these things again. And then we just train up everybody after us in the same way. We don't, we don't follow the goals. Everybody is using their own judgment, coming to work with their own attitude, and not carrying out the objectives of the company. And so, it starts with just a friendly reminder. This is what we're here for. This is why we're here. And everybody make a suggestion on how we can do it right. And every day, hopefully things will, change and get better. But if you don't try, definitely, you know what I mean? You're in a rut and you'll stay in that rut. But you have to, try and carry it out. Don't be afraid to speak out, because again, everybody has a contribution. We normally say, oh, that's not my job or that's above my pay grade, but that's your life. That's where you stay for 8 hours a day. 8 hours for rest, 8 hours at work, and then 8 hours hopefully with your family. So, and we know most of the time it isn't 8 hours. We give them about 12 hours a day. So make sure that you're sitting comfortably those 12 hours per day, and ensuring that you understand what the company's objectives are. Okay?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
okay, good. So situational analysis, environmental factors will have affected the mission statement and identification of objectives, but a much more comprehensive analysis is necessary as a basis for overall and market-specific strategies. Situation analysis involves a thorough study of broad trends within the economy and the society, and a comprehensive analysis of the markets, consumers, and competitors. Like I talked about, you know, they did this study and they saw that on the retail side of Royal Bank that online banking was a hit. And then they came on the offshore side and they pushed it down our throats and they said, you know, we're going to throw away the facts and throw away. We're not no longer accepting any handwritten notes. Throw away. Everybody must email and use the internet. But they did not know that persons who had an account on the offshore side, you know, did not use the computer. They were in their 60s and their 80s. Everybody at that time, which was about 10 years ago, in order to open up an account with us, you needed that net worth of $5 million or $250,000 to just open the account. And so persons who had that type of money and could just deposit it, didn't need it for bills, were people in that age bracket who had never used a computer. You know, it may sound strange, but of course, they felt that it had worked on one side and it would be a hit. And I think at that time they would have charged $5 per person. So they tried to make that money on the retail side, I'm sorry, on the offshore side, charging like $50. But again, we lost more business from going digital and making people, you know, they said, we have to send a fax. I don't know how to use a computer. We have to send in a written note or I'll have to close my account. And so, you know, it took almost 1 year for them to realize that just because it was good in one market, it would be, you know, they just expected the same results in the other market. And a lot of times we just don't have this information on file. At that time, we didn't have the age, or even if we did have the age of each person, because we had the date of birth, we did not pay attention to it. We did not pay attention to the age bracket. And so therefore we spend millions of dollars on making everything digital and then not being able to use it. So we want to ensure the extent of market segmentation, and we would have read about market segmentation chapter 8, where you know you take into account the age, male or female, the different demographics of you know the location each of your clients. So you can't have like a one size fits all type of marketing strategy. It normally does not work. Okay, so in the marketing department, somebody should be there paying attention to who our customers are, what they would want. When you come up with a strategy for teachers, ensure that you have more than a fair share of the market of teachers or nurses or government employees, because it would make no sense. And again, these marketing materials are very expensive to put out there, to print all of the flyers or pay for radio or ads in the newspaper. All of that is very, very expensive. So you want to ensure before you go and make an investment and you spend that money, you know the strengths and weaknesses, and you understand who your customers are and their objectives are, and if they would be interested in any of the strategies that you try and put out there. Okay. In the marketing plan, there are sales targets to be set for each product and each sales division. Now, if any of you would have worked in a bank, you know that from the front, everybody on the front line has to get points. And so they encourage you to bring your friends, your family, what have you. In fact, a lot of persons on the front line, once persons come up to make a deposit or withdrawal, they actually give you like a 5-minute pitch that you have to sell to them. You have to tell them that these are our products and service. Are you interested in opening up an account with us today? Are you interested in a credit card? Can you take this 5 survey? What have you? And so there are different sales targets for each department. But everybody, I know in the financial institution and the bank, they are encouraged to, open up accounts. In fact, Royal Bank and most of all the other retail banks, they have a complete program at Royal Bank, our was Royal Performance. And at the end of every month, the person would the most, the most accounts open or the most credit cards sold would be able to get like a $500 check. And so there was a lot of reward and recognition because, of course, the banks would make thousands or millions of dollars from fees and persons opening up accounts. So everybody is trained to sell on the front line. When you went on to the loans department, it's a whole nother level. There are targets set, there are amounts, and normally in the bigger banks, they normally have a group of about 7 loan officers, and they say, we need, $7 million in revenue for year 2020. And so you can imagine they would have set these targets in January, and the pandemic happened. So what would have happened to all those targets? Do you think the bank still expects not to make that money? And I think during the pandemic, a lot of banks had stopped offering account opening. They'd stopped offering a lot of course, because a lot of persons had lost their jobs. So all those loans or loan officers would have been drastically affected by the pandemic, but that target would have still been in there. And even on a normal year, the credit bureau coming out, that is going to affect the targets with just the way, persons predicting that there's going to be a recession. All of that affects the targets. And a lot of times, persons in the loans area, they don't feel that the banks consider that, there's probably the what are we going in the credit bureau coming on, and a lot of persons don't have good loans, and so that's going to affect the number of people are going to borrow. Then there's policy and procedures from central bank, the regulator, enforcing that you can only borrow a certain percentage. Now that needs to happen, but again, this loan officer still has to bring in this $7 million within their team. So I would say $1 million per person. So there's a lot of pressure, and you find out that a lot of persons start to steal. And in fact, back in 2017, I was auditing a bank, and what we found out is that the targets were set so high that nobody achieved their target. And that year, Royal Bank in particular let like 150 loan officers go because they simply did not meet the targets. And so after they would have let them go, a year later, the market was doing a little bit better. They had not set a more realistic target, but we had persons from Scotiabank who would have been top salespersons for the year because they would have met their targets and they would have left Scotia and gone over to Royal. But after doing an audit, what we found out is that at Scotiabank, when you can go in for a credit card, and some employees, particularly the ones in Freeport, because at that time, Freeport has been doing that for a number of years, but the person from Scotiabank who met the sales target and had the most sales was out of Freeport, so everybody felt like that was suspicious. So what they did is, when you go into Scotiabank, they have a line of credit. You can go in and say, I just want to increase my credit card. But when they the staff members increase their credit card, they don't get any points for that increase in credit card. So what they were doing were handing out like 2 and 3 credit cards to clients instead of just increasing their limit. They also had a line of credit that they would put on you, and if you could qualify for a loan, you would get a loan as well. Now, all of this would have been unbeknownst to the customer that would have walked in. But once the accounts were opened in the system, that Scotiabank employee would have gotten the points. Scotiabank also offered an insurance on each of these products. So what we saw is that those loan officers were giving them 5 products with the insurance on each of those 5 products that they would have given them. And so this is how the person would have won the salesperson of the year. And so normally when you go into the bank and you get a loan, the first payment is not due until the following month. And so before the following month, that loan officer would go in the system and close at all these accounts. So she would have already gotten her points. And the person doesn't even know that they have these 5 different loans or these 5 different products and services that Scotiabank had offered. And they would walk off and they would have all of this. She would just close them out, but she would have gotten the points. Hence, she would have became salesperson for the year. And just as we audited and we found out all that information, it was a group of persons out of Freeport, about 3 or 4 of them, they had left and gone over to the Royal Bank. So I can't say if they are doing the same thing there, but it took us a very long time to get that information and find that out. And so that is some of the pressures from, the sales target. You want to ensure that you never get involved in anything like that. And if you do work in the loans department, you want to ensure that, if you think that the loan target is unreasonable or not achievable, because, institutions have to do their part as well. Again, who are making these decisions? The same board members who don't even know the vision and mission. And so we're not making smart goals, we're making unrealistic goals that are not achievable. And some people are so desperate to keep their jobs, they'll do anything. The people, that's theft and fraud. And so you want to ensure that if you are in an institution where every year the targets are unreasonable, you want to ensure that you speak up about that or you move to another department, because that's a lot of pressure to feel that if I do not meet this target, I will not have a job. Okay? Was that clear, or was that a lot of rambling on? Speak back to me. Atalia, did you get that?
I got it.
Hello? You got it? What about you, Stephen? Okay, I still can't hear Stephen. But okay. But was it clear, Talia? Do you have any questions?
No, not at this time.
Sorry, it was clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, good. And what about you, Thompson? Because I know you work, I think, in the loan area. Is this real? Do you feel some of these pressures? Does your institution have smart goals? Do they have realistic targets to achieve?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you don't have those type of issues there.
No, ma'am.
Have you heard about it before, or are you surprised?
I was surprised just now. It was my first.
Okay, good. Yeah, so it has happened in a lot of the major banks. Again, like I said, the goals are not smart, they are unrealistic, and persons are not trained, and so they're afraid to speak up, and they don't simply say that, that just increased. We had a pandemic, the market is down, and again, if you don't even have a marketing department, your organization does not have this information in its corporate plans, like somebody going out there, watching the market, watching the economy, seeing what's happening, especially if the majority of your institution or your loans are from government employees or Atlantis employees. And because of the pandemic, a lot of them are laid off. Somebody has to speak up, because a lot of times, I mean, the companies, because of this pandemic and it affected the world, I would hope that the loans departments in all institutions would go back and adjust the target so the staff members don't feel pressured in the trying to, achieve a non-achievable goal. But if they don't, somebody has to speak up and say, come on, You know, at the beginning of the year, we were optimistic and this may have been achievable. However, due to this and whatever happened in the economy and the market and how it's looking, this will not be possible. Okay, because like I said, a lot of times, that person at the top is feeling pressure, or well, our head office was in Canada, and not everything that happened in Canada obviously happened in the Bahamas. And so, you know, the economy was affected in different ways. So if you had the Canadians at the top making the decision and trickling it down, you know, they weren't aware of our culture, they weren't aware of how the various factors in the economy affected us. So they simply did not know. Okay, so don't be afraid, and that's why we're there. Don't, again, like I say, we must always be respectful and diplomatic in our conversations, but don't be afraid to speak up. Okay, and so again, a budget must be set. The salaries of staff, advertising budget, which they report to us
We can't hear you too clearly, Miss Bullard. Miss Bullard.
Prices may have been higher in March, but people were able to even come outside. A large portion of the population were able to come outside from March to June. And so therefore, of course, we did shopping. I mean, I did some shopping online, but I think it became so much better the artists. And so therefore, they would have had that inventory that they expected to go out by month end. And it has been like 3-4 months, and then we have, let's say, inventory, they may have standing orders, their persons automatically bill them and send more, you know, shipping more inventory to them. So of course they have an overload of inventory. So you will see that stores offering discounts, putting sales promotions, advertising a little bit more, that the country is open.
Miss
Okay.
Bullard.
So again, we want to, when we have these meetings, we want to speak up, because a lot of times the sales target is set by top management. They're the ones that make these decisions. They decide how things are priced. They know the bottom line. A lot of times, they have certain expenditure that has to be covered. So prices below a certain. But again, all of us as employees should be aware of like strategy, aware of the goals, aware that if we don't bring in a certain amount of sales, then there's no money for salaries because you can't keep borrowing. And the smaller institutions don't have the cash cow to keep them afloat when something goes wrong. Again, then during the pandemic, the food businesses were the essential services. They stayed open whilst the retail stores were closed. So you have to take, you know, all of that into account, you know, when you budget. You have to plan for emergencies. Of course, nobody really planned for this pandemic, but in life, a lot of things happen. So when you budget, you know, you want to always, in case of emergency, you know, this pandemic should have taught us a lot. There are 3 types of annual budget planning. And the marketing budget. And again, this right here, and this is on page 109. This is very popular as a future expenses on the exam. So you want to just highlight it. This is the budgeting. And pay attention to it because it's going to be tricky. It's going to be close. So you want to ensure that you don't get mixed up. A lot of people get mixed up on it. So top-down planning involves high management, setting goals for lower management. Just think about how things are in an institution, and that's the same way. Higher management for lower management. That's top-down. Bottom-up planning
them for higher management approval. And we had moved in Royal Bank to this, whereas everybody had a development plan. They had come out with the acronym SMART, where goals should be specific, measurable, attainable. I can't remember the R, and then time. Again, so we have to follow that acronym. And in that acronym, we wrote our own goals. Then we sat down with our supervisors, and supervisors agreed that okay, this would be our goal perhaps for the first 3 months, and we would see how it would work out. If it didn't work out, then we would change it, or if it was working, we would continue on for the rest of the year. Are you having that now? With the bottom of planning and box employees, are you setting your own goals each year? You have goal setting and performance appraisals, right? Hello?
Miss Pollard,
We can barely hear you.
Natalia? Or Thompson?
I can barely hear you.
Thompson?
you can hear her?
I can barely hear you. You can hear me?
Okay,
Thompson, you can hear.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Hello?
Thompson, you can hear me?
Hello?
I can hear Atalia.
Hello?
It's hard to hear Ms. Bullet.
Okay. I sent her an email. I hope she
Hello?
sees it.
Hello?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I
Okay,
can
I
hear you
don't
clear.
know. I think
I
I
can hear
lost
you.
signal
Okay.
again.
So she can't hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I can't hear anybody. So what? I will leave and come right back in to see if I can hear. I'm not certain y'all can hear me.
All right.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, I can hear you. You can hear
Hi.
us?
Yes, but hi.
Hey, Miss Bullard.
Yeah, I'm trying to put in an earpiece just so y'all don't get the feedback. Just
Okay.
1 second for me, please. Sorry about the interruption.
Okay.
You'll have to bear with me today and make my bad customer service.
We're here. We're holding on with you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, so we were talking about budgeting. And
Miss Bullard, I think
yes?
you'll have to send out another email for everybody else to come back because everybody else left.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me just do that right now. Okay, Atalia, I've been having a problem with my email. Are you able to just pick up on that email that I sent, the last one, and say, please rejoin for me, please, to everybody?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
5 extra points for Italia. For being a good student. Basically, I was having some technical difficulties, so we're just trying to get everybody else to join. How was the exam? Okay. Okay, perhaps she can. Yeah, Talia sent it for me.
Okay, I think Mr. Lane would have gotten hit off.
So, Miss Bullard, as we wait for everyone, the seminars for the Miss Bullard, you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
For the reference to the Toastmasters, the Rotary and I asked a friend about it, and he sent my number to one of the members because he said he wasn't active in it for a few years, but he sent my number to a member for me to for him to be able to add me to their seminar via Zoom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the person hasn't messaged me as yet, and it's been a few days. But is there any way we could go about finding out when they have like seminars or anything?
Okay, so what I will do is there was in my other class, there was one person who was inviting everybody. So I'll reach out to them and I'll share your email address with them if you don't mind.
Okay, that's fine.
And, right, and you can attend with them. They're very personable. Again, I said let's network and get to know persons. And so I'll send them your email and you try and network with them and attend with them.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Anybody else wants me to share their email?
Yes,
No?
ma'am. You can share mine. I tried reaching out to the Kiwanis Club, but one of the sisters gave me another location to try because her own is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. No, Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So I'll put a note down and after class I'll reach out to her. You should get an email from Brenda or Nicola Lockhart or Brenda Pinder, because in my other groups they were the ones they were inviting the other class, and we had about 20 persons in the other class, and everybody was thrilled. They found it very useful and helpful, and a lot of persons also agreed to even visit after the class. So it's very beneficial, like I said, to help in building your corporate career. You need to get your name out there. People need to know who you are and you network, and that's how, once you are educating yourself, that's how you make your next move. So you'll meet all the very influential people in the corporate world, and it will definitely assist you. Okay. So I'll share those emails. Okay. So let me see if anybody else got on. Okay, so Stephen is back on, so that's good. So we will pick back up on page 109 and 4.3. If you're looking at it, it talks about I was saying bottom-up planning involves employees setting their own goals and submitting them for higher management approval. So have any of you experienced that as yet? Thompson or Italia, do you have goal setting?
Repeat the question, I didn't hear you.
Okay, so have you experienced goal setting? Do you have a performance appraisal at the end of the year?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in terms, are there just goals that the company sets for you from their strategic plan, or are they allowing you to, decide which goals? You've been in the department for a few years, you know how it works, you have a lot of insight. Are they allowing you to set, come up with your own goals and discussing it with you?
No, our company.
No, ma'am.
No, our department sets the goals for you.
Okay, but are they SMART goals? Remember, I don't know if you would have heard when I said a few years ago, we moved towards SMART goals, where goals must be specific, they must be measurable, they must be attainable, and they must be timely. Are they SMART goals? Because I know you mentioned that a lot of persons, they don't act out the mission statement. So are the goals relevant? Are they attainable?
They are, but even though they're attainable, you still don't get a perfect score. I don't know why. But
Okay,
yeah.
but because we're human beings and we don't live in perfect, I mean that's why. Have you ever questioned that, you know, a lot of persons, when you work in a group, there are high, low, and medium performers, and the persons who are scholars, I mean, even in my classes, you know, they approach me and they say, Miss Bullet, I need an A. If I don't get an A, I have to lay down on the floor, you know. And so I say, tell me, okay, so this is what you need to get an A. Or some persons did not speak up. One of my very, very, very good scholars did not speak up and said, Miss Bullard, I'm working towards that A. I want you to help me to ensure that I get that A. And she missed that A by 2 points. And she didn't attend Toastmasters or Rotary or Kiwanis to get that extra bonus 5 points. And she was, I mean, she was very disappointed, but she did not speak up. So the person who spoke up and said, Miss Bullet, I need this A. I said, well, you better do all my homework. You better hand it in on time. You better get the extra 5%, you know, and they did that. So speak up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Speak up. So with these goals, you said they are attainable. You speak up and you go and tell them, listen, you know, I know we don't live in perfect. I don't aim for, I'm not like a perfectionist, because people is sometimes think you crazy when you try to be a perfectionist. But you say, I'm looking for that extra grade at the end of the year. What do I need to do? First of all, you ask, is it even achievable? You know, and whilst I was at Royal Bank did offer a cruise. So, you know, the person who had the highest sales point got a cruise. The person who gave the best support won the cruise. So everybody was working very diligently, very hard to ensure that they were the top performer to get the cruise. So have you had that conversation yet, Italia? Have you asked, is it attainable? What do I do? What is the extra push that you know, to become employee of the quarter, or to get this perfect score that you wish for? Have you ever asked?
I have, you know, before we send in the appraisals, we have to, there's a button where if you don't want to talk to the manager on the appraisal, just click yes and just let
Okay.
it go. Or you click no, and then the manager would call you and let you know, like, you come into the office and speak with me. But I have talked about it. I've even had coworkers who got the same appraisals like every year. Like the appraisal said the same thing, and they question it, and they had to change it because they had improvements, and they just copied whatever appraisal they used from the previous year onto the present year.
Okay. And so, right, but again, and not that that is right, but in the manager's defense, sometimes we have 20 or 30 staff. Okay, and whenever you have more than 5 staff, that manager won't know you intimately. And so what you need to do is, you know, make sure that you stand out. Remind them. A lot of times before I wrote appraisals, I called my staff in and I said, let's just have a discussion. How do you feel about the year? You know, just remind me, because I did take some notes, and I did jot down, you know, when things out of the ordinary happened, when they went above and beyond. But everybody isn't so diligent like that. So, you know, when you know staff appraisal time coming around, have that conversation. This is how I feel the year went. This is what we did. We set 4 goals to be achieved. 3 of them I'm working diligently to ensure, you know what I mean? So give them a little reminder so they don't have to copy and paste, because they may be saying, Italia? Who's Italia now? Which one is Italia? I don't even know who she is, right? Out of the 30 persons that I supervise. So, you know, sometimes just work with them, put yourself out there, speak up. Um, you know, some people, even to get jobs, they would have said, I called 4 times. I called 5 times till they started hiring. They know they had to call me because I reached out so many times. So I left an impression on them. They knew that I was diligent. You don't want to nag them to death, but you have to stand out. Again, it's a lot of competition out there, even at work. So you want to leave a memory with that person who is going to give. Like, I want to give Atalia 5 extra points right now for sending that email for me and getting everybody online. And I having this difficulty. So you want to go the extra mile, and you want to do a little more. And like I say, don't be afraid to speak up and introduce yourself, especially to the people who are in charge. Let them know who you are. And a lot of times, somebody taught me this when I was at Royal Bank. They had the rewards and recognition ceremony, and people said, "Oh, I'm not gonna go because the same people win every time," or "I don't like to see those people from 9 to 5, so I definitely don't want to see them on my own time." And so a lot of times they missed those opportunities too. The CEO was there. I went around, I introduced, I shook everybody's hand. I said, "Hey, I'm Tiffany," and I used to hail them like they were my friends. We were colleagues. And I sat, if it was a seat at the managing director's table, I sat there and I said, "Hey, how are you?" And so every time there was time for promotion or person's job positions that I wanted to apply for, they knew my name. You know what I mean? And so the only thing what I had to do was ensure that I maintained a manageable reputation, because like I told you all, half of the people like me and half of the people, hate my guts. There's no in between. But enough of the people like me that mattered. My resume, I always stayed in school. I always kept myself upgraded. I knew that the institution would buy 10 tickets to go to a seminar and nobody would want to go. I was there at those seminars. I introduced myself. And so because they knew who I was and they were familiar, I always got the interview. If it was even not this time, Bullard, we pick somebody else, or we already have that person, or I got it because Royal Bank has 5 institutions and I worked at all 5. Okay, I started at Finco, then I went to Royal Bank Retail, then I went to uh, Royal Bank Head Office, then I went to Trust and Private Banking, and then later on I worked as operations manager for capital markets and Dominion Securities, because everybody in each of those areas knew me. Okay, so that's the power of networking, of getting out there, not being afraid to introduce yourself, and just getting to know everybody, and these people will vouch for you. Okay, so Miss Bullard and Miss Nixon has the same resume. They are both qualified for this position, but I know Miss Nixon, so there she gets the job. Okay, so all of that just to say, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to speak up. And if these conversations, don't be afraid to start the conversation. Always be diplomatic and respectful, and they'll remember you for just even asking questions. Oh, when I make a decision, let me make sure I make the right decision the first time, because Italia is not gonna let this fly. She's gonna want to know why, what's it's based on, and how we came to make this decision. And so then you even have people making better decisions, and ensuring that they get it right the first time, because the managers don't have all the answers. Okay, and sometimes you have to train up. Okay, so all of this helps with the development of customer service. Okay, so that bottom up planning, you set your own goals. You say you'll do the top down, so that's fine once the goals are smart and they are relevant. But if they're not smart and they're not relevant and they're not attainable, then you speak up and then you say, "How about this? Last year our sales target was 7 million, but we had the pandemic, so we need to be, consider the pandemic and the state of the economy primarily. All our persons that get loans, a big part of our loan book is Atlantis employees and Bahama employees. And we know that the hotels are not opening until November. So definitely, the target set for them needs to be lessened, So we are all a part of the team. Everybody brainstorm and come together to make sure that we have a good year. What I don't like is when persons work the entire year and at the end of the year they get bad news. Complete waste of time. No, halfway through, you check every 3 months. You check, am I on the right track? Is there something else? Would you like me to do more of something? And by the end of the year, then you should have good news. And again, if you don't get it the first year, don't be discouraged. A lot of times we say it's not attainable. I might as well give up. No, if you don't give up, is they say the race is not for the swiftest. If you don't be afraid to be turned down, to be told no, to start over, to lose, you will then win. Okay, it doesn't happen automatic. Okay, Natalia. So Natalia, hang in there. You never know. In a few years, you will attain it. Okay, that perfect score that you're looking for. Okay, and then the last one, yeah. Okay, good. The last one is goals down, plans up. Planning mixes the option might be a little inconvenient. It's a longer drive. I might even get it $5 cheaper, but I know that's good service there. I know those people are loyal. I will get not only good service, I leave satisfied, and there's
Miss
something
Bullard,
called. Go ahead.
can you start over? You actually came out of the Zoom and then came back.
Really?
Yeah, you probably get knocked off.
Oh, oh, okay. And I was just talking. Okay. Where did you? What did you last hear? Did you hear the
We,
goals down?
yeah, the last thing we would have heard was goals down, plans up.
Management sets the overall goals, and subordinates then formulate plans for achieving those goals. So they brainstorm together, they work together, and they make the agreement. Okay. Let's move on to SWOT analysis. And a SWOT analysis falls under the detailed documents. A marketing plan is a written document covering all of the organization's marketing activities, their implementation and control. And again, you can write all these things down and they're not written in stone. You may have to come back. I'm sure everybody had to change their plan because of the pandemic. What the issue is, if you don't change it and expect things to go as normal, and then you blame the staff or blame somebody for not pulling their weight or not the goals not being achieved. But the whole thing is you do document this, you share it with everybody, you ask persons for suggestions. They come back and they tell you their views, and then you amend it again. So again, in these documents, you want to have the company's mission, the product market background information. Again, is it applicable, what's happening in the market segmentation, historical trends, and future projections. We know that school is going to open in August, so therefore everybody should be. You can hear me? Sorry, I didn't hear you. You were saying something?
No one was saying
Oh,
anything.
okay. Yeah, so school is going to open in September. So, of course, persons children wouldn't have been to school since March, and so persons should be purchasing uniforms or what have you, and so you would, get those sales going for back to school in a few weeks. I mean, if school opens according to like what's happening in America, but if it doesn't, then again you have to go and amend that quickly to ensure that you don't spend money where it's not needed. They may say school can't open until January, but who knows? We'll see how it goes. So a SWOT analysis is a multi-source statement of the company, its strengths, its weaknesses, its opportunities, and its threats. And again, like I said, this is a big part of your midterm exam. So you want to truly understand what a SWOT analysis is and how to complete one. So again, Italia, we want to talk about Atlantis, and we want to talk about the strengths of Atlantis. Then we'll talk about the weaknesses and the opportunities, and then the threats. And the easiest way to understand it is by completing a SWOT analysis on an institution. So because everybody knows about Atlantis, and you work there, let's use the strengths. What would you say was one of the strengths of Atlantis? Italia?
One of the strengths, I would say,
It has a strong brand. Do you agree that it has a strong brand?
I agree.
Yes. And so it brings loads of tourists from all around the world. A lot of people say sometimes I want to go to the Atlantis. Not necessarily they want to go to the Bahamas, but they are primarily coming to Atlantis, to the Bahamas just to go to Atlantis, correct?
Some people think Atlantis is the Bahamas.
The Bahamas, right? Okay, so that's definitely a strength. The water parks, that's the only water park in the Bahamas. Bahama has such a big building as well, but I think they're working on their water park right now. So stuff like that is a strength. They have different towers with different prices, so you can stay, the average man can stay in the Coral Towers and still have the same experience that the person in the Royal Towers would have, because it's affordable, right? So all of those are strengths. Okay, so you could think of any more?
No, that's it so far.
Yeah, so they're so world renowned that a lot of people, like you said, think the Bahamas is an Atlantis, and they even had to Bahamianize it a bit. So, because a lot of people said, "Oh, I've been to the Bahamas," but they never came over the bridge, and so they were getting into rifts with their friends who said, "Well, then if you never came over the bridge, you did not go to the Bahamas. You only went to the Atlantis." And so, what the Ministry of Tourism was saying, that a lot of people didn't really experience the Bahamas, so Atlantis reached out to a local vendor on the dock, McKinsey, and so now McKinsey has a conch salad stand there. They also reached out to a Bahamian artist, and now the Bahamian artist sells his art from there. And I think Bamboo Shack also took over. Is it Bamboo Shack or Frankie Gone Bananas?
Frankie Gone Bananas.
Yeah, where the Bimini Road, but which is same as Bamboo Shack. With the Bimini Road took over. Frankie Gone Bananas took over the Bimini Road so that persons would have a taste of the Bahamas, right? So that's just how strong the brand of Atlantis is. So that's a strength. Okay. Can we think of a weakness?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Okay, so a lot of people may look at it and say, "Oh my God, that's too expensive."
The restaurants are really expensive.
They are really expensive, right? You have to take a bridge. That could be a weakness, and that bridge is not free. Persons may say, "I can go to a local restaurant on Cable Beach, and I don't have to pay that $2 fee."
And you have the valet park. There's
Right,
no free
right,
parking.
right, right, right. Um, okay, good. And then there's loads of walking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may just, it may be your birthday, and persons may say, oh, I don't mind attending that party, but I have to walk for 2 miles before I get to it, so I won't be attending, and I definitely won't be spending $17 for that valet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So opportunities, where can they improve? Perhaps training.
No, the company offers a lot of training, so they don't need any improvement in that area. So they do,
Okay.
yeah, every month they probably offer training, probably every 6 months.
Oh, okay.
You get a chance to cross train in different departments to see if you like it before you apply to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so what would be an opportunity? What can they improve on? Perhaps the price. The price? To make it more attractive to locals, because okay, the borders were closed and a lot of Bahamians have not experienced the water parks. I mean, we live in the Bahamas. It may be one of the only water parks in this region outside of Florida, but can we truly afford? I think it's $84 per person. If you have a family of 4, that's almost $400, right?
Right.
And so they couldn't. I know 1 August they did have like a $50 rate, right? So perhaps that's an opportunity that they could make it more affordable for locals.
I think that was the local rate, the promotional rate where adults was $50 and kids 12 and under they were 35, I believe.
Okay. So that's an opportunity to reduce the price, and like you said, they have done that. Again, perhaps, you know, what they have in the elevators, sorry, not in the elevators, in the airports. Anybody ever gone to Miami airport and they have like those escalators that you walk on
with the luggages?
Yeah, like it's a flat escalator on the floor that is, you know, because the Miami airport is so long, and so right, so that's an opportunity, perhaps, because, you know, a lot of, for the disabled, I don't know how. I mean, if you don't have a wheelchair, that's a lot of walking just from, like you said, the parking lot, or you have to incur a lot of you know, fees to valet park. And so perhaps they can put those flat escalators lay down on the floor, and that would reduce the amount of walking. And so people who are disabled will not feel that you know, we have to go somewhere else, or Cable Beach is the way for us to go. So that's another opportunity. Threats. What would be Atlanta's #1 threat?
Cyber.
Bahama.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, but go. What did you say? Sorry.
No, I thought you was meaning like cyber threats and stuff like that.
Okay, so a cyber threat the other day, their front desk was compromised, and everybody who swiped their card to the sum of $500,000 was defrauded. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. That is a threat. You're correct. Cybercrime. So they need to beef up their IT department to ensure that the hackers can hack into their, you know, into their front desk to, you know, steal off everybody's cards. Because I think the remainder of the Atlantis is cashless.
Right.
Right. And so therefore, you have to pay at the front desk, and then you put money on the card, and then you go swiping through. Correct? That's how it works. Yeah, so perhaps that's an opportunity to beef up your, you know, you shouldn't be cashless in one area, and then the hackers could still get in too. So that's an opportunity for you to upgrade your IT platform to ensure that the hackers can get through and cashless. I know one time, I didn't bring my card with me, and I only had cash, and so my kids couldn't get ice cream, so they were very disappointed. You know, I took them out for a treat, but you know, and then there was a gift store. They said you could walk through. That was like 30 minutes away. Yeah. So yeah. So all of those are opportunities. Yeah. So Bahama is definitely a threat. Because
we
Bahama
had
competition.
when Bahama first opened, we had a lot of tourists asking about it, but you know, instead of bad mouthing them, you know, we just deter them from them. Like, you know, we have a water park. Bahama doesn't. We're a family resort. Bahama isn't. So we had to deter them away from that without bad mouthing Bahama, without, you know.
Right. But they are so very good that you all handle it that way. But of course, Bahama is the competition. And earlier this year, Bahama announced that they would also be opening up their water parks. Did you hear that?
I saw it too. I saw the building and everything of it.
Okay, so yeah, so that's definitely a big threat. When Bahama opens up that water park, so you wanna you know, beef up your service, because what would be the difference now, especially like if when persons ask you, oh, what about Bahama? Because any type of media, even negative media, seems to be the best media right now. Remember, we talked about that because Bahama got a lot of free press because they had that you know, they liquidated and they had to be bought by the Chinese, and they were in the news every day. So whilst that, you know, there was a lot of negative press, persons don't realize that that just kept people talking about them. And so that was good on Hamas side, you know, that people kept talking. When persons came, they wanted to see what Bahama was all about. Did this man really spend all this money? Did he lose it? Did the Chinese really buy out his hotel? What are the differences? Because again, there was a lot of shoddy work. Why Saki was complaining about the Chinese construction company. And so people just, you know, they wanted to know what really happened. So even though they got a lot of negative press, all press right now, especially negative press in the world that we live in, and negative social media seems to you know, do the trick for most institutions. So yeah, the only difference after they open up this water park would be what, Atalia, what would be the difference?
I think the freshness of Bahama would be different because it's a new place.
Okay. So definitely that's a threat for Atlantis, right?
Yeah, it is. This is something new. Everybody wants to experience something new at the end of the day.
Right. So right, and persons may have visited 4 or 5 times to the Bahamas and always going to Atlantis. Now there's something new, and especially Bahamians too. Bahamians love new things. So yeah, that's definitely a threat, right? Okay, so we discussed the threat, the strengths, we discussed some weaknesses, we discussed some opportunities and some threats. Are we comfortable with our SWOT analysis and what it is and how it works? Come on, speak up. No, we're gonna have this on our midterm exam, and you're gonna have to select a company. Okay, will you be able to write at least 2 strengths or 3 weaknesses on this midterm exam? So ask me some questions. Natalia, you good?
I'm good. I understand.
You understand. Okay. What about you, Stephen? Let me see if we can hear from Stephen yet. Stephen. No, I still, well, I hope at least Stephen can hear me. I I hope Stephen can hear me. Okay, good. Thompson, what about you? If you gave us some strength about your union, give us one of your strengths.
I think right now one of our strengths is efficiency. Like we're on time, we're committed to our word. If we tell you 1 o'clock, then it's 1 o'clock. We issue our loans in a timely fashion. So I think we're efficient.
Okay. So give me a weakness.
Our weakness would be technology, lack of technology.
Okay. Okay. Give me an opportunity.
An opportunity would be, I talked about it this morning. An opportunity for our union would be more promotions.
Okay, so more marketing and perhaps establishing a department or making it somebody's function too.
They have a marketing department, but I feel as if it's not functional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then a threat?
A threat will definitely be, teachers or national
All
workers.
the other,
because, they offer more, not just that, they're open bond and, we're still closed bond. So that would definitely be a threat.
Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay. Okay, so basically what we wanted to cover in that chapter is that planning involves decisions about what to do in the future and how to do it, when to do it, and who does it. It is a matter of coordinating and channeling resources to achieve predetermined goals. Marketing plans are developed within parameters of corporate plans. The stages in corporate planning are the development of the mission statement, the formulation of objectives, situation analysis, strategy development, specific planning, and implementation. A variety of marketing strategies may be adopted depending on objectives to be achieved. Marketing and sales plans will be formulated initially and controlled by reference to financial considerations such as sales targets and budgets. A marketing plan will cover overall mission statements, background, market, production information, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So in that marketing plan, you will see the full SWOT analysis of the business, how it works, what the strengths, what are the weaknesses, and that information is very important to know because how else do you keep abreast of who your competitors are? Like Thompson said, the other unions, and she listed teachers as well as National Workers Union. There are other unions out there that may be bonded, so they may not necessarily be a threat. There may also be other unions out there that offer the same products and services that they offer. Perhaps there's a nurses union that just offers, those services to nurses. I'm just saying, I'm not certain, but there could be, right? And so therefore they wouldn't be a threat. So you definitely don't need to compete against, just because it's a bank and you're a bank or a credit union, and but you need to go out and find out what they do and how they do it and ensure that you are competitive, especially when it comes to rates. You want to ensure that in my last class, somebody went around to all of the union stuff just so we could find out who had the best interest rate. So, we could, and then we said that we were committed to saving $25 a week for the duration of the class, but that class was for 14 weeks, and I think you would have had like $300 or $450, and at least I think we had 15 or 20 persons study, and at least 5 persons did it and they were happy, and then they increased it. But we started off with a low amount just so we could get comfortable. And I think we talked about this in supervisory skills, where we talked about, the Chinese living off of 80%, and they save 20% and they live off of, they save 80% and they live off of 20%. And so, persons tried that, not that they did it every day, but they did it at least one payday. They saved 80% and they tried to just survive off 20%. And so this is how, you become rich, and this is how you save money and, live out your dreams and desires. Okay? And so all of this, you can do this for your own personal business or just for your own life. Do a SWOT analysis on yourself to see what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Are there any opportunities for you? And what are your threats? And one by one, you be aware. You can't always eliminate your threats, but, at least be aware of them. Okay? And then remember that plans need to change. Sometimes they are formulated at the branch level. Sometimes they are formulated at head office level, but you need to tweak them. I remember back in the day, again, I always talk about Royal Bank. A lot of the policies and procedures came down from Canada, and they were very bulky, loads of pages, and a lot of it wasn't applicable to the Bahamas. And so for a lot, many years, persons just looked at the policies and procedures, did not follow them, and just used their own judgment, would cause a lot of losses in the bank. And so, a group of us got together, and, the central bank also put some pressure on us when they started to do on-site visits. And they basically said, let's localize these policies and procedures. Let's make them, applicable and relevant to us. And so wherever the policies and procedures had like Canadian law, we put in Bahamian law, and we really critiqued it and got it localized and layman's terms that, anybody who walked into the bank as an employee would understand. And we moved away from just giving them a stack of papers on the first day and saying, read for the first 3 days, and piece by piece, we let them read, then we ask questions, then we try to, give them a little test and say, then we made it, because a lot of times we do things at work and we don't even know this is the policy for it, because we call it something else. We use slang or jargons or I mean, at Scotiabank, when I was auditing there, that was crazy, because they have an acronym for everything. Go to the ACA, do the the P this and the PH this. They have an acronym for almost everything, and nobody knows what a PHP is or what it stands for, and people just going around saying things that don't make sense. Okay, so make sure you move away from things what are, we just say a lot of things and we don't really understand what it means. We want to ensure that we understand what it means. Again, the plans according to the economy or what's happening in the world would need to be tweaked. Don't just let it hang till the end of the year and then the company tells you, oh, well, we said this goes from January. You should have recommended that we change it. You didn't, so now you stuck with it. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen, okay? And you want to ensure that you have the statistics, the relevant market information to know who your customers are and what they do, okay? What would be best for them. So, like I said before, the importance of this chapter was the marketing plan, the cash cow, budgeting, and the SWOT analysis. And of course, you all know the mission statement. We talked about it from day one and the importance of it. So let me know if you have any questions. Anybody? Natalia, you there? Oh, I've been talking to myself for the last 15 minutes.
No, I'm here. We could all hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, so tell me now, do you know what a cash cow is?
Let me see if I could describe it right. So a cash cow is basically a smaller business that sustains a bigger business.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be size, but a cash intensive business that would sustain a less in cash intensive business. Okay, like the car lot would not, because of course one person probably coming in a month, but they spend $30,000 to $60,000, whereas that $5 at Burger King, you have that times 100 or 200 in a month. Okay, so more customers, more cash intensive, and so therefore that allows us not to have to borrow to pay salaries, borrow for inventory, borrow to keep the light on, because if y'all know what banking fees are like right now. It's $1 just to withdraw your own money. So, and then service charge, and then VAT and stamp tax. And think about large corporations. You know, when I look at my statement, at my fees, I feel upset over the $30 in fees a month I have. So imagine those large corporations who doing a lot of transactions. You know, they probably have hundreds of dollars in fees. Don't go away and use your card. Oh my God. So yeah. Yeah, for real. I don't know. You also have these same issues when you go away. Like you don't want to carry the cash, but my God, I have like $100 in fees when I travel. That is driving me crazy. I feel like I gotta get more stuff out of Walmart if I didn't have all them fees. So yeah, so imagine, yeah, companies dealing with the amount of fees and stuff like that. Right. Okay, good. So we understand the three types of budgeting, and I made it rather than to a corporate plan. I use a performance appraisal because most persons have a performance appraisal. So again, that was just to help you understand it. Then we talked about the SWOT analysis and sales, and I gave some examples of how these marketing plans, you want to ensure that that marketing person is not pushing senior management and saying, listen, our bills total the $7 million, so we have to make $10 million, and I don't care what you do, you make them to know that they have to, and so then again, I told the stories where we had people fraudulently offering customers or giving services that the customers didn't even know they had, and just to get the points, and they close them out before the end of the month or before the first payment comes due, and so they got their points. And hence you have somebody out of Freeport, but Freeport been in recession mostly for the last 10 years, being salesperson of the year, when the people in Nassau couldn't even get close to this person. Say had 1,000 points, the people in Nassau only had 500, and people wanted to know why. And in fact, when Scotiabank normally has an AGM meeting every year where they announce this employee of the year and who had the most sales points. And if you sat in that meeting, you could hear the people, oh my God, like breathing very hard when they announced the person of the Freeport and saying, how possible with the economy being the way it is, that they beat out everybody in Nassau and became the salesperson of the year. Okay, so right then, from the announcement, that raised red flags. Okay, so just so you would know, because when you become the future leaders and you come in, you make these decisions, we want you to ensure that you have a good plan that's attainable and achievable, and you make SMART goals, and you make a good corporate plan with a mission or vision statement that includes your staff, and you promote colleague care. Okay? Okay. So we all know that our midterm is going to be next week, Tuesday. And I said earlier, and I guess you all will re-listen, some parts of this lagged. I had a lot of technical difficulties earlier. I do apologize for all of that. So it may be difficult to listen to the first part of this lecture, and I apologize for that. But by all means, let me know if you have more questions or you need more clarity. We are going to have a review next week, and we will go over the pertinent parts of the midterm. I did say a big part of it is going to be a repeat of some of the questions from your homework, but don't, you use that, but also do some research. And there's going to be about 20 multiple choice, but 5 short answers, and then 1 essay. And I gave a heads up that the essay is going to be on colleague care, because across the Bahamas, the corporate culture is at an all-time low, and it's been decreasing, for a very long time. Nobody has stepped up to, make a difference and make a change, and take it at hand and not allow it to, fall any further. So we want to, brainstorm and come up with some ideas on what we can do to ensure that we don't contribute to this very poor corporate culture, and find a solution to start to change it one person at a time. Okay, and like I said, all of this is just practice now for when you become the decision maker, when you become senior management, when you are on that board, so that you will make the right decisions and do the right things and keep abreast of what's going on, know how to make good decisions, know where to go, information to help you make those decisions, and ensure that people think highly of you when you write this mission statement. And perhaps one of the first things you may have to do when you get to that level is add staff to your mission statement. So very good on the union for having staff included in it already. Okay, any questions? I know it was difficult to, we couldn't, difficulties, and a lot of people couldn't speak, so let's use this time for questions. Go ahead, Vissaline.
Ms. Bullitt, you said the midterm is next week, Tuesday or Thursday?
I did we agree to Tuesday or Thursday? Which one would be
I thought we had to.
I just wanted you to have a weekend in there. You thought it was Tuesday?
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know. I thought we did. I know it was supposed to be today, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was changed. It was moved to Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll all be prepared for Tuesday. And you got that the essay will be on colleague care.
Okay, the essay will be on colleague care.
Yeah, so I want you to do some research and come on Thursday asking some questions to make sure that it's relevant, because again, we want to ensure that we get our full 10 points. So we want to write at least 5 different points down that we can elaborate on. And then, because you won't remember everything, and so when you get in the exam, at least you'll be comfortable and prepared, okay? But again, it's gonna be colleague care based in the Bahamas, based on corporate culture, and essentially what we can do to fix this. Okay, so we want relevance, we don't want fluff. Okay, so we will say, of course, training can assist us with colleague care, corporate planning, persons developing goals and involving the entire team, you know, if there are 5 goals that you make for the entire year, 3 can come from management and 2 can come from the employee. We definitely want to hold those discussions and ensure that the employee feels that they can achieve it. And if they don't feel like they can achieve it, we give them a roadmap on how to achieve it, or, you know, steps that they can take. And we do to achieve their goals throughout the year. Okay? And then explaining the corporate plan and sharing it so persons are aware. Sharing the marketing strategy. A lot of times, like I say, when I was working in a bank, people would just come and start hanging up flyers in the roof and bringing balloons. And we would be like, "Ooh, what's going on?" And they would be like, "Oh, this is the new marketing thing for the month." And we'd be like, "So what's it about?" And they'd say, "We don't know." And then, of course, persons came into the bank and they asked, "Oh, what's your promotion for teachers?" And he was like, "We don't know. You have to hold on to see the loan officer." And then that was like 2 hours, hold on, just to get the information. Or somebody
That's still
call on the
happening.
phone and say, yeah, but it shouldn't, all of that affects service. And most people who coming
It
into the
does.
bank, people who coming into the bank have a job, right?
Right.
They have
See, that's the
one
problem.
lunch
I've always
hour.
is stress.
They have one lunch hour. 1 hour. How they can hold on for, be on the line for half an hour, ask this question, that take 30 minutes. So all of that is service. Okay, so training is important. There should be no, how are you on the front line expected to generate sales and you don't even know what the marketing initiative is for the month, or the new product is for the month. How can you use your 5 minutes that whilst you or processing the transaction to say, "Could I interest you in our credit card? We have a new introductory rate of something percent. The annual fee is only blah blah blah," if you don't even know, right?
Right.
But you are expected to get those sales points, right?
Right.
Because I definitely sales on everybody's performance appraisal. And so what do? We scramble at the end of the year and we hurry up, call 5 of our cousins to come in and get a credit card, and we tell them y'all could close it out before the end of the first payment come, because they ain't gonna never know. That's what we do, or we just say, or we get the marks or the points for that part, because it's work back office. That's what we do, Miss Lynn.
Well, no, when I have problems like that, I always just bring the issue up.
Okay.
Especially during when COVID first started. I was like, your communication so poor. And then I'm not even at the front desk, but yet all the bank calls come to me. So if a customer calls in, how am I supposed to answer their questions when the managers don't even communicate what's going on? They'll have them meeting amongst themselves, but don't communicate to their staff what we doing. When I have an issue like that, I always bring it up because I tell them I don't like to feel like I'm stupid. Honestly. If I work there and you want me to pick up the phone, you don't even want the front desk to pick up the phone, you want me to pick up the phone, then I should know how I should approach any question that a customer has for me.
Okay, and what was the response to that?
She said she'd send me the email.
Okay, and had she been sending it?
She sent it, but I mean, that's just an ongoing issue.
Okay, so but just remember your part and your part to give good service. And so sometimes if you have to say, I'll get back to you, let me get your name and number, then you go and find out and just get back to the person and they'll still be satisfied, rather than they stand there for half an hour whilst you go and find out what the
Well,
initiative
yeah.
is or what the strategy. Yeah. So just find ways around it because a lot of the systems are broken. And like I say, until we get a seat at the table or until we are in charge, this is when we will fix it, you know? So if you find that they're not receptive or every month you have to ask the same question over and over, just, try not to let it affect the service that you give. Because really, sometimes people just say, oh, that bank is the worst bank, just from a few bad apples. But you could change that. They could say that bank really bad, but we could you call Whistling, she gets back to you, okay? And so just how they spread the negative news, they'll also say, well, the one good person we could always call and get through to and gives good service all the time is Whistling. So that's what you want people to say, Okay, so any other questions? Stephen, I didn't hear from you the whole night. Stephen, no? My connection working good now. You're still in working, Stephen? Okay, Stephen ain't talking to me tonight. Okay, so any other questions or we'll just continue on Thursday? And like I said, you could come prepared with your questions. We'll do some review.
Miss Buller.
Go ahead.
No, Stephen just messaged in the chat. He can hear you, but something is wrong with his mic.
Oh, okay. Okay, Stephen. Stephen, you won't have to book for a couple of weeks. Now something wrong with your mic. Please don't be like me. Make sure your mic works next week so I can hear from you so you can get your 10 points. Because I think Thompson have 5-year points already. So I will make sure you get this next 5. Okay, Stephen? Okay. All right. So we'll meet again on Thursday, and again for the parts of the this chapter that wasn't clear when you listen to the recording, just excuse me. I had a lot of stress with this internet for the entire day. That's why I sent the emails. But I think the important parts got out. Just throw the rest away that didn't make sense. Throw the rest away, and we'll be okay. But like I said, when you go back over it, if you feel that you don't understand a part of it, then just let me know if it wasn't clear, and I'll be happy to go over it with you again. Also, I got word from Miss Dean that I know we had a lady join us last week, and then somebody else wants to join, but these persons are trying to graduate, and apparently this may be the last class that they have to take, and it crossed over with some other classes. So they're asking me to accommodate the persons so they can meet graduation. So bear with us. We are going to continue on. Like I said, the midterm is just to see where we are at and where you need help, and we'll go from there. So I won't add anybody else. I know Blakely just was added to a group. I think she's in the group with, is it you, Thompson? Thompson? No? Okay. So I don't know. I don't know if everybody could just hear me now. But okay, but I just
Sorry, you can hear me?
Yes, go ahead. So Blakely joined you in the group on Thursday?
No, ma'am. It was me and Stephen. Well, we WhatsApp one another.
Oh, okay. Okay, but how did it go? Did you get a lot done? Were you able to do some research for your project?
Yes, ma'am, we did. We were able to complete our survey. We already starting to get our feedback on the survey.
Okay.
So it's now just a matter of us putting it together.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, then, so we'll talk again on Thursday, and everything is back to normal. This seemed to work better now from this line, but I'll go back to normal, and I shouldn't have any more technical difficulties. So thanks for the understanding and working with me through that. And like I said, on Thursday, and we'll prepare for the midterm. Okay, so if there are no other questions, then we'll just stop there.
Okay.
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 Okay. So you all have a good evening, and I'll see you all on Thursday.
You
Okay,
too. Thanks.
thank you. Good night.
Okay. Good night.